Hello and welcome to the second of our videos for your 24/7 prayer week. In this video we're going to be drawing closer to each other, to the family, the fellowship that is church. In the last video we thought about how we needed to draw near to God in order to listen to Him and hear Him better. And today we seek to draw near to one another. We're going to start this video with a little film within a film. It's one that's come over from Canada and really captures for me something about the chaotic but wonderful nature of church.
In one sense, we're some of the most connected people to have ever walked the face of the earth. We're all just a call, a click, or a text message away from each other. But in another sense, we are some of the most disconnected people to have ever lived. And over the last few centuries, even our Christian faith has tended toward a more privatized and a more individualized expression of what it means to be a follower of Jesus. We focus on a personal relationship with Jesus, on a quiet time alone with God, and on a faith that's worked out in the solitude of our own minds. And when we focus only on these things, we find ourselves very alone, very isolated, and very much without the love and wholeness that Scripture describes as a life connected with God. Tables have been used for lots of different things throughout history, but one of their most common uses is a place. It's a place to bring people together around ideas, around events, or around identity. The family dining room table is a place where the young and old, the esteemed and the estranged, winners and losers all get together to share a meal that binds them together into brother, sister, mother, father, aunts, uncles, cousins, grandparents. It's a place where they find their belonging through identity. Families are not always perfect, and sometimes they're outright dysfunctional, but even at their worst, they point toward a deeper reality that says that we're not made to be alone, that we're connected to others in a continual and a communal way that's absolutely necessary to our identity as humans. The Lord's table calls and binds us together as God's family. God takes the broken, the lost, the alone, the marginalized, and He brings us all together and gives us a place to belong based simply on our family name, the name of Christian. We no longer dine alone. We're brothers and sisters that have been adopted together by the same Father. We're restored by the same brother and friend, Jesus Christ. We're fused and formed together in His death and resurrection. He's given us a family name and a family bond that no one can take away. It's being sustained by the very Creator of the universe Himself.
The church, like any family, isn't perfect, but it's God's family, and it has the potential to make us into the sons and daughters, brothers and sisters that God longs for us to be.
Our Bible reading today is the story of the prodigal son. It's a story Jesus told not about church, but about family.
Okay, this is it, video diary, day 1. This is hopefully the start of something big. Today is the day I ask Dad if I can have my share of the family savings. And I'm under no illusions here. This is a big deal. I'm basically asking for what I would get in his will if he was dead. And, well, if you don't ask, you don't get. That's what I say. So, wish me luck, and I'll report in later. Result. Oh, yes. This is definitely a big day for number 2 son. I just asked Dad, and he said yes. Yes. I'm so rich now, it is untrue. I can go anywhere I like now. I can do anything I like. Money's no longer an object. So what if Dad was a bit upset? I mean, it's my money. That's what I kept saying. It's my money, and I should have the chance to enjoy it while I'm young. So anyway, I need to get packing. I'm not going to stay a day longer than I need to in this dump. It's not even as if we ever got on. And not since Mum died. I hate him. So anyway, next time I check in, I'll be living La Vida Loca. So we're just out and about on the town with the camera here after a little adventure. It is. Hang on, she's all right. She's all right. Hey, girls, how you doing? All right, just that's all right. Don't worry, it's only a camera. She's shy. We're gonna go for a little drink. Me and my little camera, a little adventure. You want to join us, or are you? Right, hello, am I having the time of my life or what? This is amazing. Right, I never dreamed it'd be like this. I've got wine, I've got good food, I've got women, so no, this place is amazing. I've met so many new friends, they all are around me all the time. I'm never lonely, they all know how to party, they all know how to have a good time. Hey! It's only money, huh? It's only money. Hey! Just looking at the old bank balance online. Not good. I don't get it. It's not as if I went mad and bought a house or something. But there's there's tens of thousands missing. I'll need to make a few changes. I'll get a smaller place, fewer parties. Well, the thing is, my mates expect something bigger and better. Maybe I can make up my losses on the gaming tables. Yeah. It's gone. Every last penny. Do you know how much money I have lost? I was so sure. I can't even afford a taxi back to my room. I've been here 10 days, living on the streets. Not that I call it living. I've seen some sick stuff. I've seen people fighting over half a bottle of spirits. I've seen women selling themselves for a bowl of soup. I saw some of my mates and I called to them, they just walked on by on the other side. So I'm ending it now. I'm going home. So where do I begin? Well, to start with, Dad. I arrived back home and he was there. In fact, he came running towards me down the street past all the neighbours and their twitching curtains. Not a pretty sight. Actually, it was a great sight. I started to say to him all about that money and about the way I'd treated him. But he didn't listen to a word I said. And this time that was a good thing. Like all that mattered was that I was home. It's weird. He's treating me like none of this ever happened, like I'm totally forgiven. You know what, within minutes of getting into the house, he was on the phone to a caterer. He threw me a welcome home party. After all I'd done. And all the time he was on the phone, he was grinning, and it was then that I knew for the first time how much he loved me. I've learned a lot, but there's still a lot I need to know. So...
I love the story of the prodigal son for lots of reasons. I love the fact that I can see myself in the characters and I am different characters at different times of my life. I really was once that prodigal as I tried to run away from home and from God. I really was once that older son, and still am from time to time, being judgmental and divisive. And sometimes on my good days, I can be like the Father and forgiving and welcoming and generous. And it's my prayer I become more and more like him, and that he becomes the model for my own fatherhood and my own role within the church. But what the story to me is saying in a different way is it's showing to me and to anyone who reads it how important family is to God. If God is the Father in the story, then look at the heartbreak he experiences when the son goes away from home. It's that heartbreak, that desire to see the family reunited, that drives him to the extent of his property to look out for him each and every day. It's that desire to see the family back together that drives him running in a most undignified manner into the arms of his son. It's that desire for the family to be together that gives the father the generosity to welcome the son home, forgiving everything and giving him back his shoes, his ring and his cloak. But we see the heartbreak as well with the older son, who is invited to the big party but refuses to come. He again causes the family to fracture with his attitudes and his judgments and his unwillingness to include and forgive. And so the father commits a breach of etiquette and leaves the party that he is hosting in order to pull back the son that has left, this time the elder son. You see, what breaks the father's heart most in this story is when his family becomes fractured and the relationships within that family become tense or break. So in this video, we're going to be making sure that doesn't happen. We're going to see how we can draw close to one another. And we're going to see if we can't be the kind of family that our Father is longing for us to be. Here's a song by Andy Flanagan that captures the heart of that story. And as you listen to the words and maybe even join in, take time to reflect on the story and maybe jot down your thoughts in your notebook or in your journal.
And I will return to you and say, I am not fit to be your slave, for I have sinned and turned away. My journey home is filled with fear of what I'll find when I draw near. Is there a welcome for me here? And then running towards me, a beautiful sight, a father who loves his own. He's standing before me, exploding with life, so I offer up my yours. I've served, all your commands I have observed, yet he receives what I deserve. Have I forgotten where I stand, taken for granted who I am, a child held in my Father's hand? So come to the table and join in the feast, where joy and grace abound. For once I was dead, but now I'm alive, and I was lost, but now I'm found. Yeah, into your open arms, into your open arms, into your open arms I throw myself. Into your open arms, into your open arms, into your open arms, your arms of saving grace. Into your open arms, into your open arms, Lord, I throw myself, yeah. Into your open arms, into your open arms, into your open arms, your arms of saving
So how can we grow closer as a family? Some of you may come from families where the relationships haven't been that great. I haven't always been close to my brother. But when my mum became ill, something happened. Both of us went to visit. We were both contacting each other every day to see how things were. And as we drew close to Mum, we drew close to each other. And it reminds me of a principle. It's here in this little Lego video that I've created. If we draw close to God, who we love, if our love draws us into his embrace, then the closer we get to God, the closer we get to each other. So the first step in becoming the family God wants us to be is the step towards our Father, which we looked at in our last video. So I'm going to ask you now, while the music is playing, while the images are showing, to think about drawing close to Father God, coming to him and falling into his arms, coming to him and saying sorry, coming to him and saying please, coming to him just to lie in his arms and rest and be a child again. And just see that as we draw close to him, whether you don't begin to warm in the heart for those around you. I was reading in Romans recently, and I've been using the Passion translation, which a lot of people don't like because it focuses on the Aramaic rather than the Greek. But from time to time this translation brings up something amazing. Listen to this through the writing of Paul. Romans chapter 1, verses 10 to 12. My desire and constant prayer is that I would succeed in coming to you according to the plan and timing of God. I yearn to come and be face to face with you and get to know you. For I long to impart to you some spiritual gift that will empower you to stand strong in your faith. Now this means that when we come together and are side by side, something wonderful will be released. We can expect to be co-encouraged and comforted in each other's faith. When we come together and are side by side, something wonderful is released. That's our second thought about drawing close to one another, that desire to see God move. That's something wonderful to be released as we come side by side, facing in the same direction, sharing the same vision, having the same passion and the same goals, longing to reach out to our Father and our community. How can we come side by side? How can we draw closer? We've already looked at drawing closer to God. One of the best ways is we can draw closer through prayer. And in a moment, I'm going to give you a long time to pray for your congregation, for the people you know well and the people you hardly know at all. Let me tell you a story. Many years ago I was working at Spring Harvest and I was on the youth programme, and I was talking one day about God the healer. That was the Bible study for the day, and at the end of it this young woman comes up to me. She was about 14 at the time, and she had severe childhood arthritis and was very angry with me for the way I'd spoken, because she'd longed for healing and not received it. And at the end of her long, angry rant at me, she said, "And what are you going to do about it then?" And in that moment I had a strange sort of prompting. And I said, "I will pray for you. I will pray for you every day at 1:45, which was a bit random. And so I did. I prayed every day at 1:45. I told the parents that was what I was going to do. I got in touch with her mum from time to time to see how she was getting on, to see if my prayers were bringing about healing or anything like that. After a year, I went back to Spring Harvest, and so did she. And we arranged to meet. We hadn't seen each other for a year, but we arranged to meet. And as I walked down one of those walkways at Butlins, I saw her in the distance. And I started to run. And I broke every rule in the youth workbook, because I ran and I embraced her and I hugged her. And I discovered in that moment the most amazing thing, that I loved this girl who I didn't know. A year of praying for her daily had brought me into the presence of God, and in God's presence he had revealed to me his heart for her. And some of that love that he had sort of poured into me. And I felt it, and it poured out to her. And from that day to this, we are still good friends. She's married and has children now. But what changed our relationship and drew us close in a way I would never have dreamed possible was that willingness to pray, which allowed God to reveal his feelings for the person I was praying for. So the next few minutes, there will be images from your church. You'll be able to spot people you know, people you don't know. Maybe start to write their names down in your journal, and maybe ask God to reveal to you who he would like you to pray for daily. And maybe you could let them know. So how do we draw closer to each other? We draw closer to each other by drawing closer to God. We draw closer to each other by sharing and standing in the same direction. We draw closer to each other by praying. We draw closer to each other by serving one another and bearing each other's burdens. The people I am closest to were those who, when the chips were down, were there to help. The people who knocked on my door when things were so hard I didn't think I could carry on. What are the things you can bring to your church? Who are the people you can help? What are the gifts you can give? It might be just a gift of a visit, or a phone call, or a postcard. Do you remember those? It may be the gift of an actual present, maybe a financial gift, or something you know somebody needs. But for these next few moments, as God has given you his greatest gift, what gifts can you bring to your church? I would certainly challenge you to think about dropping people cards through their letterbox or making those phone calls. But what is God asking you to give in service of his community? Martin Luther King said, "Others first, always." And I've always found that the most incredibly challenging thing. Can we make it our statement for our church? We close with another song from my friend Amber Hunter, which is again a song both of worship but of blessing for our community. It's based on Matthew's Gospel, the Sermon on the Mount, and is really a way of bringing blessing to those we love. And that will then be followed by an actual sung blessing, which you will know.
Seeing the crowds, he went up on the mountain, and when he sat down, his disciples came to him, and he opened his mouth and taught them.
Blessed are the poor in spirit, your kingdom is theirs to keep. Blessed are those filled with sorrow, blessed are those who weep. They will find comfort in your care, in you they will find rest. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for your righteousness. Your ways are not our ways, and you're in a higher place. Blessed are those in your grace, and blessed are those who see. Blessed are those who believe. Blessed are the humble ones, they will inherit the land. Blessed are the pure in heart, they'll see you and understand. Blessed are the merciful, your mercy will follow them. All the days of their life, they'll be in your sight, and they'll dwell in the palm of your hand. Your ways are not our ways, and you're in a higher place. Blessed are those in your grace, and blessed are those who see. Blessed are those who believe. Blessed are promoters of peace who use love to conquer in war. They will be called sons and daughters, safe on heaven's shore. Blessed are those persecuted for believing in your name. As sure as your love is deep and wide, they will never be put to shame. Your ways are not our ways, and you're in a higher place. Blessed are those in your grace, and blessed are those who see. Blessed are those who believe. Blessed are those who receive your love, and blessed are those who believe.
May He guide you through the wilderness, protect you through the storm. May He bring you home rejoicing at the wonders He has shown you. May He bring you home rejoicing once again into our doors. May the peace of the Lord Christ go with you, wherever He may send you. May He guide you through the wilderness, protect you through the storm. May He bring you home rejoicing at the wonders He has shown. May He bring you home rejoicing once again into our doors. Once again into our doors. Once again into our doors. Once again into
Once again into our
once again into once again.